You can ask a question first. All right, we'll call this meeting of the Ripon City Council, Tuesday, April 13th, 2021, to order for the closed session. At this time, if there's any public comment, Lisa, could you read the public comment, please?
There are none for the closed session.
Okay, with that, we will go into closed session. I guess there's nobody here. We can do it in here. We're doing it in
Well,
here.
you're
Yeah.
on Zoom now.
Okay. Well, Call the meeting back into session. Mr. Terpstra, could you give us a readout of closed session, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council and the public. The council did meet at 5:30 PM in closed session to begin preliminary discussions about labor negotiations with our public police officers association, sergeants associations, public works, and unrepresented employees. Staff provided some background and was given direction, but no reportable action was taken.
Thank you, Mr. Terpstra. Next, we please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd lead us, Mr. Vice Mayor, and followed by the invocation. If you could please remain standing.
Follow me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Let's pray. Almighty God, we just thank you so much for this opportunity in this day, God. And we thank you for those who you have appointed to govern this fine city, Lord. And I just pray that your wisdom and your favor would fill them. Governing is a very hard thing. It's hard on the mind, body, home, and soul. And so, God, I pray that you would encourage them today where they need it the most, that you'll give them wisdom beyond their natural abilities, Lord, and that truly you will help them to govern well and with virtue and with justice in their heart, God. We thank you for this time, and we ask you to bless it now in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right. Lisa, can you do a roll call, please?
Councilmember Tim Wheeler,
Here.
Leo Zuber, Mike Restuccia,
Present.
Vice Mayor Dean Euchre,
Here.
Mayor Daniel DeGraff.
Here. All right. Public discussion for items not on the agenda. Is there any public discussion for items not on the agenda? Any that was received, Lisa?
Yes, I do have one, Mr. Mayor. I have a public comment from David Wheatley. Dear Ripon City Council, my name is David Wheatley. I live in the Silver Lake area of Los Angeles. I'm a volunteer with California Cities for Local Control, interested in land use throughout the state. California Cities for Local Control is a volunteer organization founded by City of Torrance Councilmember Mike Griffiths. I'm writing today to request that the City of Ripon pass a resolution to protect Ripon's ability to manage their own land use and zoning. Our group, California Cities for Local Control, now has more than 400 locally elected officials throughout the state supporting local control of land use. And 58 cities have passed resolutions in support of protecting local control of land use, and we would like to invite you to join us. The main questions as we see them are, do you want state legislators to make land use and zoning decisions for your city, or do you believe that local leadership is better equipped to make those decisions? Some of the bills being proposed seek to eliminate R1 single-family home neighborhoods and to allow developers to tear down single-family homes and to put in their multi-unit structures of up to 10 units per lot. These multi-unit structures would often be adjacent to the long-standing traditional single-family homes for which individual families and Californians have worked hard to preserve for generations. This will take away much-needed local control. If these state bills are passed, you'll have no say in their implementation. Many community homeowners and stakeholders will be caught off guard as to what's happening in their neighborhoods until it's too late. And when local constituents find out there's a multi-unit going in next door to them, who are they going to call? They're going to call you to find out what happened and what you're going to do about it. And it will still be too late. We believe it is not beneficial locally to take control of land use away from cities. Placing it in the state's hand is a one-size-fits-all housing plan is not good for cities where every city is unique. Each city should be a decision maker for how their own communities are built. We look forward to hearing from you and hope you will get involved in this important mission to preserve your local control. We hope you will pass a resolution to support our efforts and to join the many cities who have already done so. He provides his website and email address. Thank you in advance for your support. Time is of the essence. These bills are in the legislature now. If you support the protection of local control by joining your voice with ours, our united voices will make a strong difference. We can provide a resolution template for your assistance. Sincerely, David Wheatley.
Thank you. All right. Moving on to approval of the minutes from the regular council meeting March 9th. workshop of March 23rd and the special meeting of March
So
25th.
moved.
We have a motion and
Are we using the goodie thing or are we just doing voice?
we're gonna go ahead and vote. We have a second?
Leo,
All set.
Okay. We have a motion and a second, call for a vote.
excuse me, Councilman Zuber.
There we go.
Yeah, silence, all right. Okay, I guess that passed. It didn't show.
I moved too quickly.
Okay. Can you confirm? Yeah, 5-0?
It passed 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to approval of the agenda as posted or amended. Is there anyone that needs to pull anything off the consent calendar?
Yes.
Okay,
Where's Jane?
she's not able to be here for this evening, so
Oh,
Lisa's your person to go to.
did she give you the message?
No.
Oh, okay. 1.4A and 1.4 D, E, and F as a group.
Okay,
That's it.
any others? Anyone else? Okay, so approval of the agenda as amended.
Don't move.
Second.
I don't have my thing.
Sorry, technology.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
not the user.
Yeah, right.
Approval of the consent calendar as amended.
So move.
Now that wasn't my fault. Okay, so now 1.4A,
Let me find my notes.
asphalt repair contract, Tom Mayo Construction.
This patching work is gonna be all over town, not in a specific area, but in the material, it notes it's gonna be in the area north of the overpass on Jack Tone. Is it just on Jack Tone, or are we gonna get some work on Hoff and Santos, because they're terrible too?
Yeah, the real focus right now on Jack Tone and in that area is to take care of the rutting that you see in the roadway there. And then areas where there were potholes and we put cold patch in, they're going to repair those. As far as the rest of the asphalt,
So all the lumps in that intersection are gonna be, God, I won't know what it's like to drive through there.
right, yeah, they're going to grind them down and
Caltrans is okay in that?
it's actually the city responsibility.
It's ours.
That's ours?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We paid for that.
Is there anybody
I paid a
we
lot
can
of
talk
money
to
on
to
that.
have the same thing done on the overpass? I mean, at the top, you hit that puppy right and you're off the ground.
Yeah, we could, that's our responsibility as well.
On the overpass?
Yeah, we do the surface of the overpass.
Okay, because there's up the top and then at the bottom, down side lane.
On Colony there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that
It
one
is
on Colony,
really bad.
that one on Colony is part of their plan
Oh,
to
okay.
grind that one down. The top of the overpass, I'm not sure. I'll double check to
Okay.
see if they're planning to take care of that one as well.
Dangerous.
It is. You hit that the wrong way and you moved over a lane and don't even know it.
Especially if you're driving lowrider.
I try to stay below
Okay.
65 and it works fine.
Do you want to wait and do them all at once or do you want?
Let's do them all at once, yeah,
Okay.
if that's okay with you. So 1.4 D, E, and F, yeah?
This is all for that temporary road we're building up there, right?
It is, yes.
Is it, I have two questions. One, are we building a road or are we just going through parking lots? I couldn't tell from the picture.
Yeah, it's difficult to see it. It is a combination. So there is certain parts of that area that's planned for the temporary road that already has an asphalt parking lot that'll remain. We'll restripe that and put cones on to delineate the roadway. There are portions that do not have asphalt, so we've worked with the property owners to add that asphalt. And they've asked for that asphalt to remain after the project. So
We install and that's it.
we install and that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
and we'll clean it up afterwards. We'll remove all the striping and cones and everything and restore it back in kind.
The other question I have is that road's going through private property. Is there anything built into the plan so that there's some sort of security? So that some fool doesn't take a right turn and drive out and do some damage or stop and run out there and do something?
Yeah, we'll sign it correctly. So it won't delineate it as a public roadway. It'll only be used for really for the trucks or anyone that has to get over. The problem we have is at the intersection of 5th and Stockton Avenue, they're going to have one 12-foot lane that remains open, but depending what side of the street it's on, the trucks either cannot have the turning radius to turn into there or don't have access because construction's in between them and 5th Street. So they're going to have to go around. So I don't know if there's going to be a lot of people trying to access 5th Street from Acacia over there, but we'll definitely have.
So it's mainly for truck,
yes, mainly for
automobile
the-
traffic has no reason to go in there. then.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll put some signs up to make sure it delineates it as a temporary, limited access road.
All right.
Let me just say, two of my good friends own a couple of those properties, and they said they were very pleased the way you guys handled it and negotiated with them.
Aaron did a good job. Obviously Stockton Avenue and the amount of truck traffic, and it's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So just making sure that they all still have access to conduct their business. It's been a good working relationship because obviously for them, there is inconveniences that come with a project like this. So we've tried to accommodate them as much as we can.
I'm going to be interested to see what happens with the cut-through traffic that uses Doak Boulevard. I mean, they hit that on the wrong day. They're looking at a 3-hour wait to get from Doak Boulevard down to the overpass.
They'll be turning around at the gas station at the corner down there.
Right.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I'll move to approve
Second.
14A, D, E, and F.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And that passes 5-0. Okay, all right. Well, Ms. Reynolds, I believe it's your turn. So if you wouldn't mind coming up front, we have a little presentation for you.
Don't be nervous.
Be shy.
He doesn't bite.
Well, you usually.
I don't do this stuff very often. So on behalf of the city of Ripon, we have this proclamation for you. Says, whereas Alicia Reynolds has served the Stockton San Joaquin County Public Library System for 30 years. You have done your job with admirable kindness, dedication, and passion for showing the community the power of reading. And you began your career with the Stockton San Joaquin County Public Library in 1989. I was 1 at that point. And you transferred to the Ripon branch in 1999. So that's 21 years of service to the Ripon Library. So we want to thank you for your service and commend you for everything you've done for our community and present you with proclamation here today.
My pleasure. Absolutely. It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Okay. Right, thank you very much.
Well deserved.
Hey,
Glad we were opened up to do it.
Chasing after all the free money now. You got somebody to replace that lady?
Trying to fill the gap. Well, yeah. Thank you very much for your service. All right. I lost my place here. Ordinances. 2A, second reading adoption. Mr. Zeidevar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members. This is the second reading and adoption for the accessory dwelling unit ordinance that we went over last month. There is, hopefully you've had a chance to look at the redlined version that was in the staff report showing the modifications between the first and second reading. A couple items that had come up and some cleanup had happened between those two. I won't go through all those in great detail. However, we did kind of add a section there that we talked about last time for what we call flag lots or non-conforming lots that they would have to get approval from the fire department and also the police department, making sure that they have adequate accessibility to those lots prior to issuing any permits for those type of structures. Other than that, the other items that are in there in red for you, I'd turn it back over to you, Mr. Mayor, and be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
I think I just have one comment. What I see here, they did a good job of building off of the discussion that we had last month. And I think this is a pretty thorough and comprehensive ordinance that deals with that issue. So
It addresses
thank
the
you.
issues pretty well. And I think the intent of what we were doing before was trying to comply with the law, but maintain as much local control as possible. And I think based on what I've seen, this does that. So appreciate your work.
Yeah, we have had kind of an uptick in interest in these units since the state's kind of gone this direction with kind of loosening up standards and ownership requirements. So there has been an uptick in interest in these units over the last several months. We've seen those. Also, on maybe a little separate note, it doesn't really fit into this ordinance, but I did send out a comment that we got from an individual resident here in town from the last reading about a structure that's kind of across his back fence there. That is one that could be turned into an accessory dwelling unit. Any unit that's that is built on a lot has the ability to be turned into one of these units. But I don't know if we've had a chance to kind of look at that. Like I said, it wouldn't necessarily fit in here, but it would kind of entail modifying our dimension regulation chapter, which is chapter 16-140, where it deals with detached accessory buildings. We've gone through that one a couple times, I think, with council, looking at RV covers and also trying to maybe most likely blend these detached units with the houses that the lots are going on. So
That particular one you brought to us, brought to our attention, what exactly again was their concern? It was just that it was.
Did you look at it? Did you
visible.
go see it?
I didn't get a chance to go look at it. No.
I got a chance to go look at it. I talked to him, got to go in the backyard and take a look. And it's pretty hideous, you know, and it's built so much higher than his lot is because that lot's a little higher and they brought in some extra dirt to raise it up a little bit. So he's just looking right down in his yard. And so he's having to raise his fence lines, some other things to kind of prevent privacy stuff too. But yeah, I think, you know, some of the standards to kind of try to match the look of the houses that are already there would be really important to kind of dial in.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty ugly.
I think the main thing, because I went and looked too. And I mean, as soon as you ride into that cul-de-sac, you see that thing. And part of the problem is it's a sloped roof, one way.
Yeah.
And I think one thing we need to look at is the idea that neighbors are neighbors. And you need to remember that there are people on the other side of the fence. That thing would have looked a whole lot more, to me, a whole lot more acceptable if that roof line had run towards the fence to cut the height down and, you know, bring it back into normalcy, so to speak.
Right. And maybe it's one thing if something's built as a garage or something originally, or some type of storage shed or whatever outbuilding, but then eventually if that gets converted or turned into some type of additional residential unit, it's a whole different story too. So.
And I'm not sure the comment that we received really had to do, I mean, it was brought up because of this ordinance here, but I don't necessarily know it had a lot to do with someone necessarily living in that unit. I do just think it was more of a, like I said, there's not a whole lot of occasions in town where you have that elevation difference, but there is some. So that compounded it obviously, but you know, it is if it looked more like the house, would it be less obtrusive to the neighboring property than just a metal building? So
I agree. I wouldn't want that in my backyard, but it met all the requirements when it was done.
It's the same thing as that two-story metal building over by where we live. You know, it met all the requirements,
Yep.
but that doesn't necessarily mean that the neighbors ought to have to put up with it. And we just need to spend some time, I think, thinking about it and see if we can come back with something.
Certainly if it's something that needs to be revisited or, you know, addressed in an ordinance to clean it up to avoid that problem, we probably should do that.
yeah, and that's certainly something I can bring back to council with some ideas of how to maybe deal with some of those type of issues that I've heard, at least here tonight. It's a different ordinance of our municipal code,
Right.
but I mean, I could bring something back for you guys to consider and talk about. I don't think, we're not going to solve every instance out
No.
there. There's always going to be some instances here and there.
Yeah.
But there's definitely some things that we might be able to build into it that would help. So.
And I know we spent a lot of time on similar topic talking about fences though too. And one thing I think that an issue that got brought to my attention was a fence that on a corner lot, the original fence was built in line with the houses that front. But technically, because there's on a corner, that's their side lot, so their side can be out to 3 feet off or 10 feet off, maybe, where everybody else's fence is 20 foot off. So they were able to build, well, it's on the code, this corner lot. You got a row of houses that front the road, and then the corner lot built their full tall fence all the ways out, and they're using it for RV storage on the sides or in their backyard. But cut off kind of everybody else's view that looks out down the road because they're a corner lot. So maybe something we need to look at on corner lots, what can be done. I don't know if we want to push back that requirement, so it's basically like a front lot. If the adjoining neighboring house is a front lot, then maybe they need to follow the front lot rules, but.
I'd be
The amount of
curious
time
to-
we're spending on corner lots, we ought to just abandon corner.
Just make them all parks.
Everything's
There you
land.
go.
Yeah, park. But you'll always have a corner somewhere.
I'd be curious to get with you on and see what kind of that particular instance, because the fencing ordinance, we did just go through that, and we kind of standardized the setback for the side yard to be 15 feet behind the back of sidewalk. So I'd be curious to kind of see how
Yeah,
that
and I think it's
out.
just, what's the setback for a front yard fence? Or like where the front house would normally be?
20 feet.
20 feet.
20 feet.
Yeah, so if their side yard's 15 and everybody else is
Right.
at 20, then it's just, there's a 5-foot difference from where that corner lot can build its fence out. But then it's sticking a full 6-foot tall fence 5 feet further in front of someone's house.
7-foot tall fence.
Now it's 7.
And maybe a 7-foot tall fence, exactly. So you're making my case, thank you. But I just know that some of the neighbors weren't real thrilled about it because that's how it got brought to my attention. But it technically complies with our current ordinance, so. But a little bit off topic, but in the same realm of where we're talking here. But anyways, do we have any further discussion on item 2A?
So what are we doing? Wait on the second reading and adopting the ordinance?
Yes, correct.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we'll call for a vote on that.
See y'all later.
Yep, see you guys. Thank you very much for being here. Okay, that passed 5-0.
Kelly,
And-
can you social distance, please?
Yes.
Sorry.
Item 3A, Dean, I believe you.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull this off and we're gonna bring it back next month because we've got some legal ramifications. So the staff's gonna get together with Harrison and that group, and I'll probably be in that meeting, or if somebody else wants to, that's fine, but we don't want to do anything today. Okay?
As that's our discussion, do we need to do anything to technically take that off the agenda, or that's our discussion, we're good there? No, we don't need a vote or anything?
You won't need a vote.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. All right, well, with that, we will go to department reports, but it looks like there's only a couple of us here, so Ken, we'll start with you.
So I guess what I did hear from council is possibly bringing back some ideas for the chapter 16-140, which staff will work on it and bring back at a future meeting for you guys to consider some items there. I will probably look into the fence item at one point, but I don't know if there's a solution for that one, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But I could take a look at it and kind of ponder at least what I know what you're talking about there. Secondly is Monday night, we do have planning commission meeting. There's quite a few items on the agenda. We do have 4 items in front of the commission. On Monday, it'll be Diamond Pet Food expansion for their 4th line at their facility. We do have a project, an RV dealer who's looking to go out off of Canal Boulevard here as another project, second one. Third project is a development down on Doak Boulevard, 4 parcels, essentially a two-phase project for a kind of a light industrial office complex back there. And then the 4th and final project is the City of Ripon Corporation Yard. I think the council's been, has reviewed that in the past couple months, have looked at that. So that'll be in front of the planning commission for approval there on that item. So if you're sitting at home Monday, late afternoon and bored out of your mind, you can always just watch on TV or come down and join us since we do have some capacity. Right? 6 o'clock, yes.
Ken, on those, if they are approved for, I guess, the 2 Diamond Pet Foods and the RV dealership, do we know kind of timeline when they're looking to complete those projects if they pass planning commission?
They're both on a, I would say they're both on a fast track. I mean, Diamond's been chomping at the bit to get moving on this. So it's going to be a matter of them ordering equipment and installing inside the facility. So there's really no physical changes you're going to see outside the facility. So it's probably just a matter of lead time as far as when they can get their equipment and what type of equipment they need. The RV dealership here in town, they want to get moving as quickly as possible, feasibly possible. They've got, they're just kind of bursting at the seams up there in Sacramento. They've been selling RVs, you know.
I see they rebuilt their facility there too as well. They got rid of that yellow mobile home facility.
Oh, did they? Yeah, they've been trying to work with City of Sacramento on expanding that site for quite some time. And that's kind of why they ended up here in Ripon too, for is to get a bigger site and just not having a really good experience up there in Sacramento. But yeah, they want to get moving as soon as possible on the site here. I know they're trying to get the building ordered. Metal building is the long lead item, and steel's gone up 2 or 3 times since they even started considering the project. So
yeah,
the sooner the better for them, so they can get get a handle on their costs and get up and running here. So
okay.
So if they turn down the corporate yard, do we appeal to ourselves?
That's a good question. I had the same thought.
yes, you guys will probably see that as an appeal in front of council if that happens.
Might have a meeting about the composition of the planning commission.
Yeah, we might need to address that if that's the case.
Oh, I would never do that.
Is that a threat, Leon?
No, just an observation.
No, I think it was a well-made observation.
Yes. Okay, moving along before somebody says something they're not supposed to. Kevin, what's your report?
That better not show up in the minutes.
You're on
It's
tape.
on YouTube, don't worry.
He was kidding.
Councilman Wheeler.
Oh, Mr. Mayor, if you might, if I might.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot you were on our screen here.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. So at the March meeting, Councilmember Zuber asked for a summary of the illegal dumping cases that we had pending and had prosecuted over the past several years. So you have a narrative, a memo, I hope it's in front of you anyway. And the first 2 pages of it are narrative, and the 3rd page is a series of statistics. So if you're a numbers person, you go for the 3rd page, right, Mike?
Yeah, but we don't have it. Can you email it to us?
I imagine we could. Well, let me go through it. Then this will take a little bit longer than I anticipated, but that's fine. Overall, then the gist of the memo that we prepared for this, and we'll forward it to you separately. It's an informational item only, no action is required. Is that the city's very active enforcement in 2019 of illegal dumping has had a deterrent effect that we intended in 2020, and it's carrying forward to this year as well. In 2019, the number of reported illegal dumping cases, starting when we started taking those statistics in March of 2019, so not even a full year, was 32 cases of illegal dumping. 27 of those 32 cases were charged as infractions, and 5 were charged as misdemeanors. As a result of those efforts, in 2020, the number of cases that were reported or recorded is 7, so down from 32 to 7. All of which were charged as infractions. And then in 2021 year to date, we have 3 cases also charged as infractions, not misdemeanors. The vast majority of those cases, almost all of them, the defendant either accepted a plea deal or was found guilty, and fines were paid either to the court or to the city. So as I said, you can see the numbers then have gone down considerably. We've also started using a 30-day notice letter prior to filing complaints in court. And this has simplified the process quite a bit, because in most cases, the defendants want to reach a deal with the city and want to take care of the violation without going to court. And so attorney time and costs have gone down in this arena. So the lesson that we've learned in this endeavor is that it's important to stay diligent, to have clear rules, and to stay dedicated to enforcement of your ordinances, because then you get that deterrent effect. So I'll supply, for the council's benefit, an informational item by way of this memorandum and the statistics that are attached. And if you have any questions tonight, I'm happy to answer those as well.
Thanks.
Any
One
questions?
thing I would suggest, you might want to have Kevin print the report and put it in your mailbox, because the sheet with the data on it, you can't read it if it's on an
Oh, too
11 by
small.
7, or would you
8.5
put
by
it on 11 by 17? Because we put it on 8.5 by 11 and then we went to 11 by 14. You couldn't read it. There's so much stuff. And it's just because there's so much. So I had him try putting it on 11 by 17 and then you can sit there and go through and read. And it's interesting. It is really interesting about once you know what some of the symbols and stuff mean and it's all in there, how they've chosen to handle it. And they've done a really good job.
Yeah. Can you email it to me as well? Because I can just blow it up and read it because I'd save everything.
Yeah, because I'm
digitally.
not a computer reader, so that's why I like it printed.
Yeah, no, I get it. But I save everything digitally so I can keep it that
I
way.
like the piece of paper so you can mark it up.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Anything?
Thank
further?
you. No, nothing further from me.
Okay. Kelly, nothing? Okay, thank you for being here. Councilman Wheeler?
I was gonna say that you guys should all call Assemblyman Flora and have him get on the AB 80. I've been on him quite a bit, but it's affecting small business and because they haven't conformed, the state hasn't conformed to PPP regulations yet, and so small businesses are kind of like, we don't know what to do. You know, it's just kind of a mess. The state's kind of put a wrinkle in a lot of small business tax filing stuff, so it's a little more self-serving. But you can get on them and tell them I told you to do that.
What's AB 80?
It's a PPP conforming, like a tax bill conforming to the federal rules. Because right now, if any small business got money from the government, it's taxable to them technically under state rules. Yeah, it's terrible, but they're just dragging their feet on getting it done.
So it's not taxed federally, but it's taxed state?
Essentially, yeah, it's not really taxed, but you don't get to write off
What
the
do you
expenses. But
expect?
yeah, it's essentially taxed at the end of the day. Yeah.
Gavin,
Exactly.
money.
It's good information. Thank you, Tim.
AB 80.
Mr. Zuber,
I have nothing.
Mr. Restuccia.
Nothing, other than I gotta, like I do every time, compliment Leo and the crew out there at the recycling center. I go there probably twice a week and feel like it's the grocery store. You go there, you spend an hour or two just talking to everybody, but it just going so smooth. It's really nice.
Agree. Nothing to report. Okay, well, it seems we actually had people here this evening and going to thank the people who were here. There's one person left. We have several attend. Dan, do we have any online?
The trooper.
Yes.
Maybe you ought to do the thinking at the beginning of the meeting.
No, they got to stay the whole time like Kelly to get thanked. 5 online, okay. Not counting our own people who are on. Okay, well, good. So thank you to everybody who paid attention and listened, those who stuck it out the whole time, Kelly. Given a final reminder, April 24th is the Love Ripon event. So if you haven't signed up for an event, go do it. Be out there. It's great way to serve your community. With that, we're done here. Thank you. Successor agency, I know. We're done with the council meeting. Okay, we just need a roll call, Lisa? Yeah.
Director Tim Wheeler,
Yes.
Leo Zuber,
Here.
Mike Restuccia,
Present.
Vice Chairman Dean Euchre, Chairman Daniel DeGraff.
I am here. Is there any public discussion?
No comments from the public.
Okay. Approval of the minutes from the previous.
So move. You got
Can we have a roll call vote, please, Lisa?
it.
All in favor, aye. Yes.
All it takes.
Okay, consent calendar item 1.1A.
Move that we approve the consent calendar.
Second.
Okay, well, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes 5-0. We're adjourned.
You don't have a record though, but not bad.
Well, I would have been out of here by 6:30.